Hello and welcome to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat. Now, in these times of escalating healthcare costs, buying health insurance has become one of the most important elements of financial planning. A health insurance policy provides protection against expenses arising out of medical emergencies and ensures that you do not have to dip into your savings to pay for any unforeseen medical expenses. However, with so many health insurance schemes available in the market, choosing the right policy has become a challenge. Policies from different insurers have different features, riders and premium, and to pick the right one that suits both your need and your budget has become a complicated exercise. Now, adding to this confusion is the different nature of policies that are being offered in the market, from normal health plans to the ones that cover specific diseases like cancer or dengue. Then there are schemes that cover your health for critical illness. Now, to help us answer some of these important questions on the right health insurance plan for you, we have Anjala Dheer with us, Director of Policy Bazaar. Welcome to the show, Anjala.
Hi,
so many health insurers have come in. So many plans are out there in the market. Everybody is vying to get customers. What should our viewers do? I mean, how does one actually choose the right health plan, the right cover, and also the right amount?
Arjun, a very important question which all of us should be aware of. First of all, we should have a basic health plan, a vanilla health plan which takes care of reimbursement or cashless in case of any ailment or hospitalization. And then once you have a basic health plan, you should then look at benefit plans or riders which cover specific ailments. And after that, you can look at, basis of, some family history of certain diseases, you can look at certain niche plans. But a basic health vanilla plan is required for all.
So define the basic health vanilla plan that you talked about, the term that you used.
A basic health vanilla plan is your typical Mediclaim plan, which you can take as an individual or which you can take as a family floater plan, covering all the members of your family, which will take care of your hospitalization expenses or other expenses related.
Just like an umbrella.
Just like an umbrella, absolutely.
Right. So what about the niche health insurance plans? Now, that's another term that we are hearing more and more, that go in for a niche health insurance plan. So what's the difference between a niche plan and a generic health plan?
Niche plans are basically, these plans have been recently introduced in the market by various insurers, and they basically cover specific diseases. To say, the lifestyle diseases like your cardiac problem, diabetes, cancer, and the latest, of course, the dengue, which is there quite rampant these days.
But people would say that I already have a Mediclaim policy. I have a family floater, for instance, that covers all these diseases. Why should I go in for a niche plan? Why should I spend extra? Is it very expensive? So what would you tell them?
See, basically, your normal Mediclaim plan takes care of normal hospitalization expenses. But, these niche plans cater to, specific diseases. Normally, a person has a health cover of about 3 to 5 lakhs as a family floater for the entire family. But is it adequate to cover a disease like cancer, which is so rampant? We have about 15,000 deaths in the country every day because of cancer. And, with it being so rampant, a 3 to 5 lakh cover is not adequate to cover if there is a disease like cancer. Even right now, if you talk about dengue, which is there, so though your normal plan will cover the dengue cost, but the specialized dengue plan which we have, it covers the OPD expenses also up to a limit of 10,000. So these niche plans have certain benefits which are linked to a particular disease.
Right. So you talked about cancer, and that also comes under the umbrella of critical illness plans. So define for us, what are critical illness plans, and does it make sense going in for one of these plans there?
Critical illness plans are basically, they can be taken as a standalone plan or they can be taken as a rider. So critical illness plans basically cover top critical diseases which are there, which can be cardiac, renal failure, cancer, or any other diseases which are lifestyle diseases. And why critical illness plans are relevant is because they cover the plan through the various stages. The specific plans cover the disease through various stages whether it's diagnosis, whether it's advanced stage, which which in some cases your normal plan will only take care of your hospitalization expenses. So in a critical illness plan, you would get a lump sum amount of the sum insured if this disease is diagnosed, and of course there would be some conditions on which it would be paid to you.
So this would be a rider, right? A
Yes.
critical illness plan would be a rider. It would not be your prime plan there.
Yes, absolutely. It's a complementary benefit plan. It is not the prime plan. A rider should be taken, like I mentioned
Precisely.
earlier.
It's just a clarification because a lot of people get confused in that.
Need to have a vanilla Mediclaim policy, and post that need to look at riders or critical illness or benefit plans.
So what does one need to keep in mind when we buy a critical illness plan?
Arjun, what you need to keep in mind is when you buy a critical illness plan is, first of all, what diseases does that plan cover? Because different companies, different insurance companies have different plans, like Apollo Munich Optima Vital covers 37 critical illness, Religare Assure covers 20 critical illness. So you clearly need to know what are the critical illnesses which are covered in the particular plan which you are going to buy. Second thing which you need to know is that what is the procedure, what is the claim process? Is it simple, is it cumbersome? Like in some plans, the critical illness plans for a cancer, it's only paid in the advanced stage, or for a cardiac problem, it's only paid in case of a severe cardiac problem and not a minor heart attack. So one should be aware what are the diseases which are covered, what is the claim process. Then the other thing which you need to keep in mind is, if you already have your basic health cover, any disability or accident cover, is that adequate? And then determine the amount which you need to take for your critical illness, plus along with age, and if there is medical history, then you in the family, then you need to take a higher sum insured for a critical illness plan.
So now within critical illness, you've got specialized plans coming out for women, for senior citizens. Can you elaborate on some of these?
Yes, within critical illness plan, you have specialized plans coming in for women and senior citizens. Like for Bajaj Alliance has a specialized plan for women which covers your breast cancer, ovarian cancer, cervix cancer, and this plan is for about 950 rupees or so, you get a sum insured of 2 lakhs, whereas if you take a normal critical illness plan, you could get for about 900, you would get a 3 lakh sum insured. So these specific women plans are more expensive. Talking about senior citizen plans, at times people haven't had a cover in the early age, and it's difficult to, and you have certain illness, and it's difficult to actually get a cover. That's when your senior citizen plans come in handy. Like you have a star red carpet, which is for senior citizens from 60 years and above. It offers whole life renewal, and there is a copay facility for which, for pre-existing diseases it's 50%, and for any other normal ailments it's 30%. So this is so there are specific plans for women as well as senior citizens.
So that's interesting. It seems to be evolving, the whole health insurance sector, and in coming out with a lot of needs of people, whether it's women, whether it's senior citizens. So the other question is, a lot of people are covered by group insurance covers. Now, is that adequate? And how do you go about enhancing that cover? Do you need to fortify that cover, in your opinion?
Absolutely. A lot of companies offer group insurance covers, and people tend to think I'm covered with the group insurance and that's adequate. So you really need to keep in mind that is that adequate, and if so typically 3 to 5 lakhs is what the companies offer, but if there is some cancer or heart problem, that cover is not adequate, so you should supplement it with a top-up plan, or taking additional riders, or taking any niche plans. And in fact the companies are also encouraging, or they have a tie-up where, other than the normal insurance which the companies the corporate is offering as a cover, the employee can top up the plan. And when you top up the plan, in case you switch the job, at times there is an option that you can port that particular plan as well.
So you talked about, enhancing group insurance cover, the importance of that. Now, what about for individual health insurance? If you've got an individual health insurance or you've got a family floater. So how do you reinforce that? I mean, how do you top that up?
Very valid, Arjun. So basically, if you have an individual plan or an individual family floater plan, you can look at increasing the sum insured for by taking top-up plans. And how the top-up plans work is that you, over and above your basic health insurance, your first claim gets entertained by or gets reimbursed by your basic health insurance, and then with the top-up plan, there is a deductible amount, and beyond the deductible amount, the expense which is there, it gets taken care of by the top-up plan. Again, in the top-up plan, you need to keep in mind what is the amount, what is the deductible amount, what are the diseases which are getting covered, what about the pre-existing diseases, are parents covered in it or not. So you need to keep these factors in mind.
And how expensive are top-up plans, and how do you go about choosing them?
Basically, if you take, if you want to increase your sum insured and you go again for a vanilla health plan, it would be more expensive. Like if you are paying a cost of about 8 to 9,000 for a standalone plan, medical plan for 5 lakhs, you would get the same sum insured with about 3,500, and it works out cheaper. So instead of taking 2 plans, you could go for a top-up plan to enhance the sum insured which you already have.
And so how does one go about choosing a top-up plan? Because again, there are so many choices there.
While choosing, you can look at the company, if your company for which you have your basic vanilla basic medical insurance, if it has a top-up plan option, you can go for that. Otherwise, you can look at other companies. You have Apollo, you have L&T, you have Religare, who are offering top-up plans. But first, you can look at your existing insurer if they have the top-up plan, and you can opt for that.
So, before we take viewers' questions, what are your top 3 pointers for people wanting to buy health insurance covers?
Top 3 pointers is, first of all of us need to have a health cover. You should have an adequate health cover. Declare all the, make the right declaration. If you have any pre-existing diseases, make the right declaration so that there is no problem at the time of claim. And once you have a basic health cover, you can look at critical illness riders or standalone niche plans if you have a specific ailment.
And also, one last question I wanted to ask you is, does it make sense? A lot of, young people say they don't want to take a health insurance policy. They're in their 20s, they're having, why spend that extra 5,000-7,000 rupees on a health insurance cover? What would you say to them? Rightly
said, Arjun, that's quite a common mindset. The sooner you take the health cover, the better it is. The premium is less. You are hale and hearty. There are no pre-existing diseases, and as the age progresses, the age bracket changes. Your premium goes up. There could be diseases which are there, which could, which will not be covered for a waiting period. So the sooner you take it, the better it is.
The first question is from Sri Devi, who's 60 years old and wants advice on the health insurance options for a 62-year-old. Anjala, please.
Basically, once you've crossed 60, the options are become limited, and more so if you have certain pre-existing diseases. And there are certain limitations also, because even if you get an insurance cover, there could be co-payment option, which means that certain amount you would have to pay for any claim, certain amount you would have to pay. There could be waiting period for certain diseases. You could look at Star Health Red Carpet, which is a senior citizen plan for people above 60. It gives you an option of lifetime renewal, and the co-payment option for pre-existing diseases is 50%, and for normal diseases is 30%.
So I guess the advantage of buying a health insurance early is that the health insurer cannot deny you a health insurance plan once you become a senior citizen. Is that
absolutely right, Arjun? So once you have a basic plan and once you become a senior citizen, the health insurer cannot deny you the plan, and even if you have a disease which it gets covered in the plan which is there.
So there are advantages of starting early.
Absolutely.
Right. So we've got Saurabh, and he says, I have an active medical insurance plan and I want to know if it makes sense for me to enhance it with critical illness plan, and he wants to know which is a better plan on this front.
Saurabh, you haven't mentioned, basically what is the basic cover. So you basically need to make sure that you have a basic cover of 5 lakhs at least. And on top of it, you can look at enhancing your sum insured by taking super top-up plans, which could be L&T, which could be Apollo Munich or Religare super top-up plans. And on top of it, you could look at some critical illness riders or, specific plans as well, like HDFC Cancer Care or critical illness riders with any of the plans which you choose.
So there's a wide option there. We've got Rajat, and he asks, please recommend an insurance plan and an add-on cover for a 2.5-year-old car, and he would like to look at a comprehensive motor policy.
Basically, you should look at a comprehensive motor policy. Since you are saying that you're mentioning that your car is 2.5 years old, you should look at a zero dep cover, which is given for cars which are there till 5 years. And you could also look at the option of, engine protector, roadside assistance, and like I earlier mentioned, you should go for a zero depreciation cover. Engine protector also is a good option if, there could be a problem to the engine because during monsoons, etc., if you're in cities like Delhi and Mumbai.
Right, we've got Anupriya, she's 37 years old, and she asks, between individual health plans and the family floater plan, which is a better one for senior citizens? In fact, she says very senior citizens.
Okay, Anupriya, very good question. See, basically when you're wanting to buy a senior citizen plan and you want to choose between a normal plan or a floater plan, two things which you need to consider is what is the age difference between the two partners, or what is the age difference between the members. Second thing is the medical history of the members. So if the age difference is very high, then the premium for a family floater plan is calculated on the basis of the age of on the higher age. So the premium becomes higher. So if there is a difference of more than 3 to 4 years, then you should not go for a family floater plan. It should be an individual plan. The second thing which you need to look at is if all the members are healthy. If one of the members has some ailment, then there is a probability that either the policy can be denied, or there could be a high loading factor which could again which would have an impact on the premium for the entire policy. So keeping these two factors in mind, you should decide whether it should be a single plan or it should be a family floater plan.
Right, Anjala, thank you so much for joining us on Policy Bazaar. And now it's time to wrap up the show. But last week we asked you a question: what is deductible in health insurance? And the answer is the amount that you pay before your insurer pays the benefit. And the winner is Sameer Sengupta. Congratulations. Now, this week's question is: up to what extent FDI in insurance sector is allowed by the government of India? A, is it 26%? B, is it 49%? C, is it 51%? Or D, it is 100%? Now send in your entries to queries@policybazaar.com, and you can also send in your questions at queries@policybazaar.com. And thanks a lot once again, and we'll see you next time with another episode of Policy Bazaar. Goodbye.